Get to Trump, Hayes, in just a minute, but can we talk about this precipitous drop for Ron DeSantis? What is going on?
I mean, it's a couple of factors there. One being that as the GOP field expands, the people who are looking for someone other than Trump are starting to look around a bit more. I feel like that has to be a factor here. Also, DeSantis had a really terrible rollout for his campaign. I mean, you had the failed Twitter launch. You had just him. I feel like he's been doing okay at retail politics, but given the sort of way he's treated the press over the years as the enemy, he's done himself no favors in getting positive coverage moving forward. And it just really hindered his campaign. You're starting to see him start to go after Trump. You're seeing him start to try to really separate himself. But for someone who's running to the right of Trump, it is really fascinating how even people who are likely GOP voters who consider themselves very conservative still support Trump over DeSantis. Trump has really sort of shifted the way the GOP primary base has thought about what it means to be conservative in a way that is not helping DeSantis right now.
Yeah, Rick, is there anything that surprises you about those numbers for Donald Trump? There was one school of thought, right, going into this season that if there were escalating numbers of legal problems for him, it might start to have a cumulative effect. Well, apparently it has, but in the other direction.
You know, at this point, Chris, I have to hark back to the lessons of 2016. Where my former Republican friends and colleagues would say, oh, well, he insulted John McCain. This will be what gets him. He stiffed his vendors. This will be what gets him. He talked about grabbing women. This is what gets him. These things in the Republican base are now assets, not liabilities. They are a post-rule of law party. They do not believe in the rule of law or justice that should apply to Donald Trump. They believe he is above that. They believe he is separate from the law. And so I'm not really shocked by it at all, Chris.
So, Rick, would you say if you're one of the other dozen candidates running for president, you've got to change the conversation? I mean, do you stick to strategy, which clearly isn't working, and maybe you wait and hope you have a moment at the debate or a debate, or do you just have to right now reevaluate everything you're doing?
And again, those lessons of 2016 apply. If you're waiting for the debate to be a miracle, where your focus groups and your consultants write you a couple of one-line zingers, and then Trump proceeds to consume the entire stage and wreck you, it's not going to work. Miracles don't work in this business. Look, and Ron DeSantis is spending over $2 million a month right now in Iowa, maybe more than that, trying to win one primary state, just like Ted Cruz did. And we see that Ted Cruz is not now and will never be president. All of these candidates fundamentally don't understand where the MAGA base is. They think they can say all the things the base likes, but the base wants to hear all those things from Donald Trump. It is not a possibility for any of these people to become Donald Trump. And DeSantis himself has been probably the worst rollout of a well-funded candidate I've ever witnessed in being in politics for over 30 years.
Wow, that's quite a statement. So, Hayes, even given that, if you're one of the other candidates who's not Ron DeSantis, do you look at it and say, okay, he's tanking, so now I do have an opportunity? Or do you just, what Rick says, accept is true, that this is Donald Trump's party and they're sticking to it?
I mean, that's the tough part here. On the one hand, you do have people like DeSantis who are trying to emulate Trump and be like a more refined version of him. You have people like Nikki Haley and Tim Scott who are trying to play for the more moderate base. They're trying to pull the people who Republicans have lost during general elections. But that's not going to help them right now during this primary season. So I really don't know if I knew what the strategy should be for them, I would be making a lot of money with them right now, because I feel like they are flailing. They are kind of flailing right now, trying to figure out what to do when so much of the people whose votes you rely on can define themselves based on this one person. How do you separate that person from the sort of policies you want to talk about? And that's hard because a lot of their policies are still the same across the board. Either they are super into the culture war, fighting, denigrating minorities and trans people and trans kids, the DeSantis model, the sort of religious right model of Pence, or they are trying to play for the suburban moms groups, but none of it is Trump. And so it's hard to break through that shell for them. And I don't know where they're going to have to go from here.
Yeah, when Chris Christie tried the ladder in front of the Faith and Freedom Coalition, he got booed. So there you go. Hayes Brown, Rick Wilson, you're going to stick with me because we're going to continue this conversation after a very quick commercial break.